Iowa State, Kansas State, the battle for first place in Big 12 standings, just went final. 80-76, Iowa State wins it. Gentlemen, your instant reaction from what was a really tight game for the most part down the stretch, Tio.
Hilton Magic, baby. It's a hard place to play. I went to one game when Prom had it rolling there up at Iowa State. It's a heck of a place. It's freezing cold. They want to be inside and they want to cheer for stuff. And so what happens? Cyclones, they get a win. And Otzelberger, you got to put him up there as far as Big 12 Coach of the Year, him and Jerome Tang. They got to be up there. They got to be up there. National Coach of the Year, both of those guys got to be up there. Also, he's doing all this without surefire offense on a night-to-night basis. And it's just because defensively that team locks down. And Gabe Kalshier, he's not overly efficient, but when he is and he's scoring, they can beat anybody. Iowa State scored 80 points tonight. That doesn't happen all that much. And the fact they were able to do that at home against a Kansas State team, who in my mind is the biggest surprise in college basketball, one of the best stories with Keontae Johnson in college basketball. They were ready to play. Kansas State's went from, and Tyler can attest to this, being the hunter to now being the hunted. You get that top 5 ranking, it's a lot different from a night to night, especially on the road. Kansas State's getting their first taste of that.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tio. It's a totally different perspective whenever you're the top dog and then teams start targeting you. But this is a big win for Iowa State. Kansas State is rolling, and Marcus Noel is probably one of my favorite players in college to watch. He can do everything. I mean, he gets out and competes. I love his game, and I found myself kind of pulling for Kansas State tonight, regardless. I had no fight in the dog. I mean, there was no reason to pull for Kansas State besides the fact that I like Marcus Noel. I love the way he plays. But they are the biggest surprise in basketball, and Tang deserves a lot of credit. And I agree with you. He could be Coach of the Year, National Coach of the Year, as well could Brad Brunell. And I think he deserves a lot of credit as well. But this was a big win for Iowa State. And, obviously everybody was happy to get out of the cold, like T.O. said, and get a good dub. So, they're the top dog now.
Want to welcome in our Sirius XM Channel 84 listeners into Field of 68 After Dark. Terrence Oglesby, Tyler Hansbrough, Megan McEwen with you, breaking down the finale to the Iowa State-Kansas State matchup, an 80-76 win for the Cyclones. And gentlemen, we talk about how good Iowa State's offense was tonight, but defensively, this is one of the top teams when you're talking about scoring defense in the Big 12. Tio, what has made their defense so consistent and good?
They're tough. They're tough. They force turnovers like crazy. They're number 1 in the country in forcing turnovers. And whenever you struggle offensively at times, what's the best way to get some things going? Create some live ball turnovers. They're creating turnovers at a 28% clip per possession, or possessions. 28% of the other team's possession ends up in a turnover. They can get out and run. That's a good thing. If you're a TJ Otzelberger and you don't have surefire dudes that can score in a half court. They do have guys that can score in a half court. I'm not saying they're completely busted, but they're 68th in the country in offense, number 7 in defense. You create turnovers, you can score easier. That's a big thing. But they're so connected as a unit. They're not going to rush into things. They're rotating a little bit early just to make sure the ball doesn't beat them. That's a big thing. If the ball doesn't beat them, or the ball, you get what I'm saying. The guy who's guarding the ball, if he gets beat, there's somebody behind. This is my 3rd show in like 3 days. I'm tired. I'm here for it, though. I'm bringing the energy. The help side is there.
Heads are falling off.
Damn it. Damn it. They're connected as a unit defensively.
I'll back you up on your point, though, Tio, because to that point tonight, Kansas State with 14 turnovers, Iowa State 25 points off those turnovers. And that's a huge margin when you take into account a tight game. Conference game wise, right, Tyler?
Yeah, sometimes your best offense is your defense. And that's kind of an old school method. You get out, force some turnovers, like I said, and get some easy buckets. But also, I got to give the bigs for Iowa State credit. They're athletic, and they guard the rim pretty well, and they made a lot of shots tough. And I think, when I was watching the game, Marcus Noel, he was struggling a little bit to begin with. And a lot of that had to do with a lot of shots that they were taking were being contested. And also the bigs made it difficult. I mean, they weren't getting much at the rim. So I got to give them credit as well. So yeah, you do. I mean, Iowa State's defense was kind of on a string. It seemed like their rotations were kind of set in place, and they knew when the ball was swinging. They just had it going tonight defensively. They're all connected.
That was
Iowa
so
State
much
also
more
pretty-
eloquent than what I said. That was so much better than what I said. I think that's worth mentioning. Another thing is in the half court, I think Jaron Holmes, the St. Bonaventure transfer, he's been a welcome addition. Caleb Grill's hitting shots, sure, but Holmes can kind of create things on occasion for you. He hasn't been overly efficient, but he's been a good piece to add to the pot there. And it's in Ames, right?